Hello, 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 it's Vince from My Mate Vince, and look what we have here, an e-bike. So, there's a bit of a backstory to this one here. E-Life Infusion. I bought it from eBay. I wasn't even in the market for an e-bike. I just thought it might make a good video. So I bought 140 on eBay in May 2023, so over 2 years ago now. And it arrived in a bit of a sorry state. Obviously, posting something like this, a lot of breakages are going to occur. And it was supposed to be no power. And when I first of all put the battery in and turned it on here, it was no power. But after a while of putting the battery in and out and then repeatedly turning it on, it just came to life, and it's been working ever since. And it was just kind of sat there. But then my wife liked the idea of an e-bike. So basically she started to use it, and that's a bit sad, but we go on a ride about half an hour, 45 minutes away to go get coffee every now and then. I've got an old mountain bike that I use, and she uses this, and it is a bit helpful to get up the hills and stuff. So she uses it as a normal bike and just uses the electric part of it maybe for 2 or 3 minutes in the whole journey. But it's nice to have that option. Anyway, riding one day and one of the pedals came off and I had to glue them up. So with these pedals, the whole bike here is supposed to fold up. So you can fold it here, you can fold it here, and you can fold the pedals in. But because it got quite damaged in the post, the pedals were only ever just hanging on a tiny little bit. So I've JB welded them up and they've been perfect ever since. I put cable ties around them to really strengthen them up and then put a load of JB welding. So that's been working fine. Now, the last time we were out on it was about 3 weeks ago. No, sorry, 2 weeks ago. And basically she said it's not working. I was like, what? Because it's been working fine. And then I went on it, and when you turn it on here, it will only work when you pedal. So you have this like pedal assist. You can't just use it like a motorbike. You have to pedal to make it work. And we have 3 levels of assist, 1, 2, and 3, and obviously off as well. And sure enough, when I went on it, you give half a pedal, it would kick in, but only for half a second, and it would groan. It'd make a bit of a groaning noise, and then you keep on pedaling and it wouldn't do it again. But then if you turned it off and back on again, you do half a pedal and it would start working, but only for, you know, like maybe 1 revolution, so maybe a second, and then the power would be gone. So I don't think it's a battery problem, because we do have full life in this battery here. So if I pull this out here, see that we have all the lights lit up here. So I don't think it's a battery problem. This is what I think. You have to give half a pedal in order to kick in the motor, because otherwise it's going to work like a motorbike. I think whatever's sensing that is not recognizing that the revolution's going round, or something, that the pedals are going round, or because it's making a bit of a groaning noise, I'm wondering if the motor, which I think is built into here, has gone, because I can't see anything on the back here, so it must be getting its power from the front. So I don't know if this is going to be fixable. The other thing is, when you are using it on electric, if you hit the brakes, that one or that one, I'm pretty sure, it will kill the power. So maybe it could be a brake related thing where it thinks the brakes are on. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some old-ish clothes on. I'm going to try to turn the bike upside down and turn it on, and try to mimic the pedaling to see if I can show you what it's doing. Now I must stress, I've never worked on an e-bike before, and if I've worked on bikes, it would have been when I was a younger kid, just changing out the brakes and stuff like that. So I'm not going to have any specialist tools or knowledge, take this purely for entertainment. So now I need to turn it on. Batteries in, batteries turned on. I need to turn it on here. Right, so let's put it to number 1. Well, in fact, let's put it to number 3, and you should really hear it take off. So now when I do the pedal, it should start working. There you go. But look, it stops. That's exactly what I said happened there. Can you see it? Kicks in, but then stops. Will it do it again? There, oh, it does do it again. But look, that's just, if I put a little bit of resistance there, so it works there, stops, and now it won't do it. So I don't have to turn it on and off, but I have to stop and then go again. Oh, it's doing it more now. But there you go, you can see that that's not right. If I was going up a hill now, I'm using purely my own strength going up there. But then stop, stop, go again. So there you go, you get to see what the problem is. I've never actually turned up the bike upside down, so I didn't really understand how that works, but that's quite nice. So when you're pedaling, you're doing the back wheel, but you're getting the assist from the front wheel here, which I always knew because the motor's here. So now, I can see that there's a cable going to this part here. I'm wondering if it's not recognising the revolution properly. Now, just to make sure, I'm going to put it to setting number 1, just to see if it's, so we're setting one now. I just want to see if it's doing it more or less. It's doing it more now. But not now. Right, okay, I think I've shown you enough. Let's turn it off up here. And I'm going to turn it off at the battery. I think the first thing we're going to look at, because let's face it, the motor's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to bring you down here. I can see that there's a funny little thing here, and it's reading this spinning. If that was dirty, which is quite believable that it could be dirty, maybe it's not recognising that the pedal's going round. It might recognise the first blip, but then it might not recognise it after that. I presume that has to see it constantly go round. Now, if you have a look here, can you see where this cable goes? I'm wondering, could it be something to do with that? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to undo the 2 screws here. That should loosen this up. And then I might be able to see if there's a load of dirt or crud in that bit there, because I presume, there you go, can you see here, these are magnets, aren't they? Can you see these little bits going around here? I think they're magnets, and in fact I can feel that looks like we ride along a disused railway track, and it wouldn't be unbelievable that there would be kind of like iron and stuff around that area. So I wonder, is this picking it up and giving it a bad reading if these magnets were dirty? You know what, I think it could be this, but I'm not quite sure why it's so noisy as well. Maybe the noise indicates that the motor's at fault. Now let's undo this here. I wonder, does that light up when you actually do it? I've never taken any notice. Looks like there's a little red LED there. This thing is insanely heavy. I just don't understand why it has to be made so heavy. You can barely lift it. It says it's, you know, transportable, that you can pop it in your car, but then you can barely lift the thing. Even though it is foldable, I don't understand why. My mountain bike's far lighter, and my mountain bike's just a cheapo from Halfords that I bought years ago. Right, here we go, that's going to come out here. Oh no, it's caught in here. I could bend it out. I don't want to break that LED. Don't fancy taking off all this though. Are you going to come out like that? Oh, you come out. Aha, right, okay. What's it say on it? DH sensor. Well, it's sealed. I thought there might be a little light or something there, a little LED. But that's not the case. Right, okay. Well, first things first, I'm just going to get a wet wipe and I'm just going to clean up around here, clean these magnets. I don't think it is this now. Actually, do you know what would be interesting? Let me turn it back on, because I've still got the battery plugged in. I should really unplug the battery. I want to see if I kind of rest it here, is it going to start working? Let's see now, is that lit up here? Yes, that's lit up. So it does light up when it's on. Right, let's see without this now, is it going to work? No. So this is definitely the thing that measures that. So I'm now going to hold it here and see if it works. No. So it must have to be very close. I wonder, does it have to count a certain amount of revolutions before it works? No, so does it have to be horizontal? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, I seen it start flashing here when it picked them up. Yeah, it doesn't seem overly happy. Right, let me give it a clean. I'm going to turn it off. Right, I don't think this is the problem, but to begin with, I'm going to use a wet wipe on all these little magnets here. And then I've got some Q-tips, cotton buds, and also some isopropyl alcohol 99.9%. So I put the wet wipe all over the magnets, and yeah, they are pretty dirty. The wet wipe does have a few black bits on it. And then I get the cotton bud with isopropyl alcohol, and I'll rub it over the magnets and also all over the sensor as well. I'm just going to pop the sensor back in to up the screws, and let's see now, is it acting any differently? Speed setting 1. Yeah, okay, and you can see that this isn't doing what it needs to do. So when I put my finger here, and it stops. Okay. I think let's move on to the connections at the front. So I'm going to kill power to the battery, and I'm going to unplug the battery. So we have a load here, and we have some going to the motor as well. So let's make sure that these are good. Can't even see where the seal is. Oh, here we go. There. That's weird. Oh wow, there's just 2 tiny little pins. Okay, I'm going to get some isopropyl on that, just in case they're dirty. But I think the fact the motor sounds like that, I think this problem is to do with the motor, unfortunately. I'm just doing these because this is easy. Problem is, it didn't get any worse, it just stopped working. I know when I bought it was faulty, but that was a no power issue. But the last time my wife used this, I don't remember it being particularly noisy. So that's going to be that one. These pins are tiny. Hopefully you can just about see them in there. They got a little key on them so you can't get them in wrong. So they're going up to the, what are they going to? They're going to the brakes, and that's the brake as well. So that's what disengages the thing. Where's this one going to? So this is actually going to the power controller. So I wonder, does this have more pins? Yes, a lot more pins, and this is green. I don't think there's anything wrong with them at all. Just going to let that air dry for a few seconds. There doesn't seem to be any corrosion or anything there. Right, let's turn our attention to the other connector. Now the other connector is just here. So this is obviously feeding the motor. Let's see what it looks like in here. Unless, of course, maybe only if it's a brushless motor, which I presume it's going to be, maybe one of the, the power ones are not getting there, so it's only working on 2 out of 3. Oh, wow. A lot of pins there. Well, again, there's no corrosion. Let's just give it a clean. There's a little arrow here and an arrow here, so you have to put arrow to get them connected. Right, I think they're all okay. I'll let it dry, put it back together. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to somehow try to take off this motor and see what's happening with it. I can't even see any screws and how to take it apart. It looks like it's sealed, because that's all part of the mould in here. Even when I do this, I can feel a bit of jitteriness. I wonder, is that sealed? Maybe you can't take them apart. Oh well, okay, I'm going to put this back together. Okay, so that's fully in. I think that's all the connectors. Let me just give it one more go. Speed 1. No. Oh, what a shame. Right, let me get my car tools out and let's see if I can undo this big nut here and whatever this is here. What happens here? So that's like an electrical connector going into it. Unless, of course, it's messed up there. It could be an actual wire. Maybe the wire's are frayed or something. Interestingly, hold on. That's very warm. That's very warm. Right, okay. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to unplug this. And I want to see now. Really, I'd have to let that cool down. I want to see now if it's getting warm. I wonder would the FLIR cam pick it up so you could see it? Maybe it would, and then we might be able to see this warm up. Because really that shouldn't warm up, should it? It's just, unless it's drawing excess current, you wouldn't expect that to be hot, I don't think. It's just wires feeding the motor. Let me get the FLIR cam. Look at that. You can clearly see that's the connector here. Can you see here? You can see the warmth on it. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get my son to hold this while it's like it is now, and I'm going to pedal. Let's see if this bottom lead, the bottom one down here, let's see if this is getting warm. If the bottom lead is getting warm, we then know that maybe it could be a wiring problem. If it's not changing heat, then what we'll do is we'll connect it up and then see if the whole thing starts glowing when the motor's going round, and that way then it will prove it's the motor. I mean, I know everybody's saying, Vince, it's obvious it's the motor. It's just that I know it's going to be game over when I start messing with this motor, so I want to do everything else possible before messing with the motor. But you can see there, if you look at my finger, you can see that right now it's kind of just a little bit less than the warmth of my hands. Right, I'm going to pop the battery back in. I've got my son holding the FLIR cam now, and I'm going to turn on the bike. Yes, it's come on. Right, so I'm going to go to 1. Oh, it's flashing 2, so clearly it recognises that this is unplugged. So I'm not going to be able to do anything. Obviously that's like an error code. Let me turn off here, let me plug it back in. I don't know how I'm going to prove anything now, but it would be interesting to see when it's going around if this is getting warm up. Yeah, so clearly it recognises when it can't see the motor. Yeah, it's come alive now. Okay, so what I need, Ben, is I need to know if when I start pedalling whether this starts heating up more,
okay,
if it starts glowing. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it getting hotter?
Mm-hmm.
And when the motor kicks in, does it look like it's glowing more now? Oh my word, it suddenly kicks in.
Oh.
Wow, that's the first time it's done that. Hold on. No, it stopped again. But did it glow for a bit, did it? Did it look like it got hotter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks Ben.
Perfect, say it?
Yeah. Right, well that was a bit inconclusive because the thing is I wanted to see whether it was a problem on here or here, but it recognises that it's not connected, so yeah, that's no good. Let me get my car tools, let me undo the nuts here and the nut here, try to take this off, undo this one here, bring it over to the mat, maybe we can work out how it comes apart, but to me that all looks completely sealed. Right, I don't think this is going to be much fun. I'm going to chop off this cable tie and undo that there. So now that should allow that to come off here. So I'm going to undo this here and this here. Now this is the biggest spanner I've got, that's 19, it's a bit too big. I'm using my Halford's professional set. I love this thing here. I got it from eBay. For quite a bit less, about 60 or 70 quid less than new. It's supposed to come with a lifetime guarantee, whether that's true or not. Apparently the forums say it's true. You just go in there with the broken tool and they give you a new one. As long as they stay in business. Right, I'm not sure if this is metric or not, but this is 18. It seems to fit, but there seems to be a bit of play. So I need to go lefty-loosey as I'm looking at it, so I've got to go this way. There we go. That was easy enough. Excellent. So that's there, so that's going to come out there, I think. Let me just loosen off this side here. Lefty-loosey. That. There's a kind of on the motor here. Let me show you. There's basically a little metal bit that's keeping the fork in place, so I need to lift it past there now. So that one's done. Same with this side. Now hopefully it will come out. Oh, do you know what it is? It's the brakes now. So I think I need to open the brakes up. Do I need to take the brakes off for this? Or do I just take air out of the tyre? Maybe it would be easy to take the brakes off. So it looks like it's a 10. I want to keep the washers on it. Yes, done it. Right, so it's like this. So we have the cup. Oh, the cup goes into this bit here. And that is flat against there. So flat, cup, the actual brake, and then the washers on the other side. This is weird. They're different sizes. Also the washers are different. I'm going to see if the back ones are the same size. Yeah, the back looks to be the same size. So I presume that's not supposed to be like that, is it? They do look like they're the original ones though. They look to be worn the same amount. I don't know why one side would be bigger than the other. Yeah, if you could put that down in the comment section below, do you reckon this has been changed, or from manufacturer, is one bigger than the other? You can see that's quite a size difference. Okay, I'm going to just mark down what's what so I understand how to put it back. In fact, I'll put it back on I'll put them on the floor like that, then I don't need to. Right. I've got them in order on the floor. Yes, we're out. Brilliant. Okay, let's bring this over to the mat and see if we can have a closer look at it. Right, let's have a good close look at this. So we have some sort of model number around here, 250 watts. That gives me a little bit of information. I want to see where the seal is. How does this thing... Oh, here we go. Can you see around here? There's a tiny little line around here. How on earth are you supposed... Oh, do you need a special tool? In a way, like a to take a back off a watch. You know, not the flip ones, you know, the screw down ones. A special tool to bring it round. I presume you do. Right, okay. Taking them off, is that going to help me? Don't think so. So that all needs to be unscrewed. I don't know if it's reverse thread or not, but that must be how it goes together. Because this one, this side that's all sealed. Yeah, so maybe it gets clamped here and turned from the other side. Right, okay. I wonder if I was to use a hammer, because the thing is, at the moment, this part of it's dead anyway. So as long as I didn't muck up the axle, well, mind you, if I bash all this up, then it's not going to be... I don't want to break the bike, you know, the bike still works as a bike. Worst case scenario, I presume you could just buy a normal wheel off a normal bike. I'm wondering if I was to go in here and hammer it round. You know, tap it round like that. Would that undo it? I think I'm going to give it a go, because I'm not going to be able to... Let's have a look. I'm not going to be able to do that round. It's going to be on way too tight for that. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Let's get the hammer.
Now, let's pop this back on so I don't damage the wire. There. Right, this is where people start screaming at the screens because I haven't got the proper tools. But tell me, if you just want to fix your e-bike, would you go out and buy all the proper tools? Probably not, unless you're going to be doing more than one. I'm worried that I might split this. I don't know what it's made out of. Is that moving at all? Tell you what we'll do, let's put a scrape across here, then we'll know whether it's moved. Right, so I've got a good scrape here now. No, that hasn't moved at all, and all that's going to happen is I'm going to bash into the actual metal. I'm just going to see if it is reverse thread. I'll go on this one. Oh, it's moved! Unless I've tightened it. Can you see there? It's moved a little bit. Right, maybe it is reverse thread. I could be tightening it, you see. I'm gonna do it evenly all round. Hopefully, then I won't break one. Oh yeah, look at that now. Surely that has to be undoing.
So I continue the beating inside for a bit, but everything's shaking all around on the table, and I don't want to load a cold solder joints on my soldering equipment, microscope, etc. So I bring it outside where I can beat it in peace. And it's not really, it's weird. Normally when you have like a bolt or a nut that doesn't budge, when it gives, and this has given because it's moved a few mil, when it gives, it comes undoes really easy, but this is just still on rock solid. I'm not even sure whether it is reverse thread because I'm doing all this whacking off it and it's not budging much at all. You would think once it's given a bit, it will undo easy, but no, not at all. Anyway, I near enough break my screwdriver. It's an electrical screwdriver and the shaft is going into the insulation bit. I don't want to ruin it because, yeah, well, obviously it's not the right tool for the job, but I still want to have a working screwdriver. So I put that back and then I get some long nose pliers. I try doing it with that and that doesn't work.
Right, I have got an angle grinder one here, but it is too narrow, which I thought it would be, because you need it to go across. But it does fit on the, you know, on each side. So I wonder, that's going to give me more leverage now if I tap it round. So I'm still going to go reverse thread, but I'm just really unsure because if it's moved nearly a centimetre, you would think by now it would be loose. Yeah, so it's just coming out. And all that's happening is this is now bending up, so I'll end up breaking this. Do you know what? That did work. It's moved quite a bit now. It's amazing what a bit of leverage does. Oh my word, it's actually coming round. I can do it by hand. Yes! The angle grinder did it. Oh no, it's spinning the other side. Oh no, I need two of these. Ah. Oh no, it's still, no, sorry, it's just spinning this. Oh, it is spinning. I think we're okay. Oh no, I'm going the wrong way right now, aren't I? Do we have to hold it this side? Yes! Oh my god, we're in, we're in! Right, let's go over to the mat now in case I lose anything in the grass, never to be seen again. Beauty! Just shows you we've got the proper tools, it'd be no bother to get in there. Right, I'm sure all that bashing didn't do it any good. It'll probably be in a million bits now on the inside. Sorry, wrong way. Oh, brilliant. Right, hold on. How's that going to happen now? That can only go to here. Right, hold on. So let's try to push this down further. To here. That's not going to come off. No, that will come off. I've got to be careful I don't bend those pins. There. Now all of this will come off. I've got to keep it in order. And that's on the spring, so we can leave that. Are you going to come out? Hallelujah! We've done it! Yes! Brilliant. Well, it all was very clean on the inside there, just a little bit of grease around the place. The wheel's so much lighter now. Oh, there's a weird smell. Wow. Whoa! That smells off oh, I don't know. It smells really strong. Okay, now, what's happening? What is happening here? So I can see there's like kind of planetary gears in here. So where this is complicated is, well, the whole thing's complicated, but it needs to be able to spin the wheel like freewheel, but then when the motor kicks in, this has to work. So this is kind of reminding me of a hoverboard motor. So why are you not working? What's that clicking? There's a sort of weird... That feels pretty smooth. Don't even know how to strip it apart any further than that. I'm going to give it a little tap here. I've got the nut like this, so I'm going to be hitting the actual, I'm not going to be bashing up the threads here. The weight's going to be, the force is going to be across like 4 or 5 threads. Just want to see if it's going to pop loose. Yes, it is. It's coming loose, isn't it? Right, so let's take all these off. And that. Obviously you would need specialist tools for all this. There we go. Right, let's see now what is going on in here. Do we have any broken gears? The grease feels hard. I don't know if that's normal or not. But it seems to have enough power to turn initially. Do you know what I'm curious about? I look back at a little bit of film where Ben was filming holding the flare cam. And at the beginning, you could see when I did that, there was like a pulse of light from heat. But then when I said, oh my God, it's working now, there was no heat coming from that cable. So I wonder, could gummed up grease cause enough friction for it to be slow to start, and then it recognises that there's an overcurrent problem and it kills the power. And that's why then when you go to pedal again, it wants to start again. This is hard. This grease does feel hard. Like, that's not too bad. But then if I go on to this bit here, that there feels, you know what I mean? It doesn't, I'm not sure. It feels a bit more stringy than soft. Also now, this has just come out. Where have you come from? Okay, let's put that to one side. So it could be a case of cleaning up the grease. Oiling the bearing, maybe. I'm wondering if this is an overcurrent thing, but it is making a funny noise. Now, can I take this off any more? Yes. Here we go. Fantastic. You see this grease here? Now that, to be fair, that's pretty soft. That doesn't look good though, does it? I mean, this is nice and white. Look at the colour of that. I wonder, is that it? Because it is working, but not right. I think I've convinced myself now it's a problem with it being a bit gummed up. But it did seem to be making a grating noise. Oh, there we go. That's one of those, I forget what they're called. That goes in here and here, look. That's just to align it. That's fine.
So now I spend the next 10-15 minutes cleaning off the grease, and I'm putting 3-in-1 oil in all the bearings, and then I'm using super lube on the different gears around the place. I'm not sure if I've mentioned super lube before. It was recommended to me on one of my videos and I bought some, but I had to get it from Amazon and it's very expensive. So I'm going to use it sparingly because I don't even know if this is the main problem. And I think the super lube cost me £10 or maybe more. I don't want to use a whole tub just on this motor here. So I must remind that this bike's not being sold on. My wife uses it. She might only turn the electric on for 3 times in the whole journey for 30 seconds on each of them. So I don't need it to be full of grease. It isn't going to do thousands of miles. I just want it to work. So yeah, if I just use a bit of lube in there, good enough to keep it going, then happy days. So I think what's happening is the grease has got a bit gummed up. I do leave this outside. It is covered, but it's outside, so maybe with the hot and cold weather, I'm not too sure, but the grease doesn't look great to me. And I'm thinking that there's a bit of a start-up problem. So it starts up and then stops. So every time you pedal, it seems to want to start, but then when you're pedaling, it doesn't go. So I think it's measuring some sort of overcurrent because there's too much resistance in the motor, and the brain of the bike kills the power to it. So yeah, I do all that. While I'm doing that, I'm going to shout out to my mate Vince Massive. The Massive members this month are Keymon Services, Kip Hakes on YouTube, Max Rokotansky, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, DJ VG, Pigsy, Anthony Dean, Russ Melanson, Rickard Bergland, Shamsa Al Sawadi, Stuart Park, Stephen from The Broken Past on YouTube, Lee Benz, and AJ Computer Services UK. A massive thanks to everybody on the My Mate Vince Massive and everybody over on Patreon that support these videos. So let's pick up the video now as it's back together. It takes quite a while to put the motor back together and also getting the wheel back on the bike. But let's pedal now and let's see, have we fixed it? Was the problem gummed up grease? What do you think? Yes or no?
Right, I've cleaned all the mud out of here and now it's definitely freewheeling nice, so I think it's still going to be able to be used as a bike. Let's see if... It's definitely harder to go backwards because I presume that's when you're using the planetary gears when you're going backwards. Right, I'm going to pop it back on the bike. I don't need to film that bit, it's the same as taking it off in reverse, and then I'll start filming just as I'm about to add power to it. Well, that went together much easier than I thought it would, and it's all kind of obvious. the small washer goes in because it kind of grips around this black bit off the frame, and then the bigger washer is to, you know, for the nut to go against. Now, I don't know what torque these are supposed to be, and I haven't got a torque wrench with me, but I've done it tight. So hopefully it should be okay. Now, I haven't put the brakes on, and I haven't cable tied this back on. I honestly have no idea whether this is or isn't going to work. I'm only going by the flare cam, and the flare cam lit up a lot. But then when it started working, it didn't light up, so I think it's a current issue. Oh, right, okay. Let's go. I hope it doesn't explode now. Battery in, battery on. Wish me luck. Turn it on. It's still coming alive. Let's go into speed 1. Here we go. Please, please, please work. Oh, you're so annoying. What? What's going on? Oh, there. Now it's going. Now it's going. I'm just going to keep doing it and let it wear in. Maybe all the grease is working in now. Now it's going. I wonder if I want to hit the other brake, the back brake. Why is it still going? Why was it still going when the pedals had stopped? It's better, but now it should stop, shouldn't it? What's that about? Right, okay, I'm going to pop the brakes back in. Bear with me. I'm going to take it for a little ride and see what's happening.
One Mary Poppins ride later.
Right, it's certainly better, as in it works, but it's not right. There's every now and then there's an awful sound coming from the front, and it doesn't always work. So it seems to work 80% of the time, which is better than it was, but something still isn't right. And I don't know if what I've done has made it 80% better, or is it just coincidence that right now it's working? Because as I say, up until the last time of using it, this did work, then it just stopped working. So I'm going to take out the motor again. I'm sure it's something to do with the motor, because if it was silent, then you would expect it to be maybe something down here or something battery related. But the thing is, not only is it not working all the time, but it's really noisy. When I was going around the block, I could hear it whining. It's like that. So it sounds like something is grating or fouling on it. But to me, it looks immaculate. I'm going to have another look at the magnets around the edge. Maybe when it's energized, some of the magnets are loose and it's causing friction, possibly.
A second painful repeated motor teardown later.
You know, I can't find anything loose on those magnets whatsoever. I'm starting to think now that maybe the noise is a kind of red herring. I'm now going to go back to the sensor on the pedals. Because maybe, I don't know, it just seems weird. I don't think it was noisy before, but maybe it was. You know, when you're outside and stuff, you might not hear the noise as much. So I thought, because it's noisy, that's why it wasn't working. But I'm now thinking it's something to do with the pedal, possibly. That it's not recognising it. So I thought the connection from here went up to the front. But when I wiggle this wire, I can see it going up this side, which is going to the back of the battery here. So I'm going to undo the 2 screws at the back and see what it uncovers, because maybe there's another connector here. which might be loose. Right, we've got a ton of wire in here. So this must be like maybe the battery management system. Whoa, that's heavy duty. Rated voltage 24 volts, rated current 7 amps, low voltage protection 21 volts. Okay. Right, and they're the ones going off to the battery there. Right, let's see if we can work out which one it is. So we've got the little wire up here. I'm going to give that a wiggle. Wiggle, it is it this? No, that's the brake. Let's take this all out. Here we go. Oh, dusty. Right, which one are you? So it's this one. Which is this one? Okay. So it's this connector here. So I wonder, we've got 3 pins here. I wonder would we be able to get a resistance by going around? Let's try it. And then it might say whether this is, no, maybe you have to have voltage in. I'll see, let me get a multimeter. So I'm just gonna go on resistance, so ohms, and I wanna see if I go on the outer 2, so that's the blue and the red, whether we have any reading. We do, it's in the meg ohms. Now, if I was to turn the pedal, does it change? No. Let's go on to the middle pin and the left hand pin. I wonder could I go in here? No, they put glue on it. It's a bit fiddly to do. No. Well, I think the middle one, the right hand one, is 5,000 ohms. No, 50,000 ohms, so that is different than the other ones. I just can't quite get the leads in here. There we go, 50,000 ohms. No, so that's not making any difference to the multimeter at all. But there's no voltage going in. Maybe you have to, you know, this thing here might need to be energized, I presume, before it's gonna give a reading. Right, I am wondering, I mean that all looks okay. I don't think we need to clean any of that. But we have a ton of pins in here as well. So this must be the main feed to this thing. Again, I think that's all okay. I'm wondering whether it's just something very simple, like maybe this thing got bent. You know, this reader here, maybe it needs to be more in. So you see this bit here? I'm wondering if I just need to push it in, because that is on a very thin bracket, and it is possible that it might have got a bit knocked. It might need to be closer, you know? I'm going to put the motor back together again because I can't see anything wrong with the motor. So if it is the motor, it needs a new motor, which I won't be doing because it's too expensive. I'd rather just have it as a push bike. And if it's something to do with this, we still might be able to fix it, albeit the motor is noisy. So let me put the motor back together and then we'll see if we have a more consistent reading if I push this in closer, because maybe this got a little bit bent. Right, okay, so that's freewheeling, I think. Yeah, forward, and then that's that way. But listen, it sounds noisy, doesn't it? Right, I think we've got 2 separate issues here. Let's plug this in. We're in there. Now, let's plug it in and see what's happening. All of this is still loose at the back, but I don't think it's going to shorten anything. So plugging it in now. Turn it on and turn it on here. And let's go to setting 1. So it's all lit up there still. Let's see now, are you going to work? Red light's on nice and strong.
You know what? The red light is, it seems to be flickering more consistently. I think it's working. I don't believe it. I think it was this all along. Look. Look, there's strength there. And it's turning off perfectly now as well. Oh, I don't believe it. I think all I had to do was bend that in a millimetre. Right, let's try the other speeds. Right, this is speed 2. I think that's it. And it's not ramping up massively now either. And it shuts down every single time I stop. So on, and then it will shut down. You can see it slowing, on again. Oh, what? Right, let's try number 3. Yeah, I can hear it's faster. And stop, and it's slowing down. Well look, I got to understand a little bit more about e-bikes. Every single time that's working now. Okay, I think I wasted a lot of my time there. This little thing here was a fraction of a millimetre out. So I'm going to bring the camera right down, turn it on again, and I'm going to show you the flashing of the light. It seems a lot more consistent. Right, so let's turn it on again. And we're on setting number 1. If you have a look at this light now, you can see it's lit up. And when I go round this way, can you see it's like pulsing the same sort of amount as me turning. Now let's go faster and slow. While before, I thought that was more erratic. And then when we stop, the front wheel stops. I know you can't see it, but yeah, I think that's picked up perfectly now.
So I'm just going to take it outside now, go for a little ride and see what it's like.
One ecstatic ride later.
My oh my, it works. And it's quiet. I don't understand it. It was grating before, and now there's no grating whatsoever. It's smoothly quiet, and it works perfectly on every single speed, and also completely smoothly. Every time you hit either of the brakes, it cuts out. Every time you stop pedaling, you can hear the motor cuts out, and then you're just freewheeling afterwards. It's pitch black outside. I'm going to see if I can... How am I going to do this? I might see if I can hold my phone while riding. Right, far from ideal. I'm just going to hold the camera. So turn it on, and I'll just put it on speed 1. Now, watch this. Hold on now. Hold on, I don't want to fall off. There we go. Right, listen to how quiet that is. Oops, whoa, 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 whoa. Hopefully, you're not going to be able to see a thing. And if I hit the brakes, I can hear that the motor's stopping. And if I go on to speed 2, hold on, speed, so that's now speed 2. And again, hopefully you can hear it, I'm braking. Listen to that. I'm going to go up a hill in a minute, still on speed 2. Go around the corner, going to go up a hill. Listen to how quiet it is. Still on speed 2. Ah, so easy. And I'll pop it onto speed 3 when I'm on this straight here. Right, let's get it onto speed 3, hold on. Speed 3, so I'm now on speed 3. Nice and fast. And every time I stop pedaling, the motor cuts out. And I'm just going to lower it down to speed 1. Right, so I'm speed 1 now. There we go. Oh, amazing. That's so good. Turn it off. Result.
Ah, well, there we have it. I presume on that last bit there, all you've seen was a black screen, but hopefully you heard the motor kicking in and out. I do not understand how before it was like that, all because that was out there. Is it because it couldn't regulate? I don't get it, unless it was cutting in and out so quick or something that it was making that noise. To me it sounded like it was grinding in there, but 100% now it's lovely and smooth and that's working fine. So if at the very beginning, I mean maybe cleaning it helped, but at the very beginning if I just pushed that in ever so slightly, then I think it would work fine. I think that Hall effect sensor type thing was just a fraction away from the magnets, and maybe this here might also not be perfectly straight, you know, there might be a bit of play in it. And then what might happen is maybe it was only reading half the magnets on the way round, because I don't know how many magnets there are, but pretend there's like 8 magnets on the way round. Maybe it was only reading 4 of them and not the other 4, or 3 of them and not 5, and that's why it was getting confused. But also it wasn't shutting off properly either, all from that. I can't believe that. And just in case you're curious, check out that lead now. There's no heat on it. And I've just been riding it for a good minute and a half, or maybe 2 minutes around the block. So, and also before that as well, off camera. So you would expect that to be lit up because it was lit up before, and now it's not at all. The floor's hotter. So that's pretty amazing. Don't know why that was getting hot, because that sensor down there was incorrect, but it is what it is. Right, I've been wondering how this fault may have occurred, and I think I might know. So this is the part down here that I bent, and now it's working perfectly, this part here, and it's on very thin gauge metal. If I got my finger in there now, I could quite easily force this out a little bit. It's springy, because it's thin metal, but it's still going to be out a fraction of a millimetre. And it's critical that that reads the metal magnets on here, or the pieces of metal, because that's how it recognises the revolutions. Now, when we go on our bike ride on this disused railway, they have a part, maybe to stop motorbikes going down it, that has a little gate that you go through as a pedestrian. But next to that gate, there's a little half a foot gap that you get your bike through. But they've put these bollards that are about a foot tall on both sides of this half a foot, so you can get the front wheel through, but you can't get your pedals through, because if it's like this, that's going to be under the height of the bollards, and if it's like this one will go over, but then the pedal on that side won't go over, and vice versa if it was that way there. So what you have to do is you have to basically put the front wheel through, and you have to lift the whole bike, or lift at least the back part of the bike through, to get the pedals up to go over the bollard. Now this bike, even though it is a foldable one, is ridiculously heavy, and I think what's happened is, as my wife was lifting it through, because my bike's much lighter, it's a bigger bike but it's aluminium, it was a cheap Halfords bike but it's all aluminium, and it's much lighter than this is honestly, it's unusable as a fold-up bike unless you're very strong. And I think what's happened is, as she's lifted it over the bollard, I don't think she's fully cleared the bollard, and I think the bollard might have hit this bit here, because you can see it is exposed. You do have cable here, but that part there is exposed. So maybe the bollard hit it here and it was enough just to put it out ever so slightly. Hence the reason why it has been working and then it just stopped working. It hasn't been something that got worse, it just stopped working. Why they haven't made this out of a thicker gauge of steel, I don't know, because this is a critical part of it. So really that steel there should be 4 or 5 times thicker to stop the chance of that moving, in my opinion. So I think that's what's happened here. But if it happens again, it's no big deal, because all you've got to do is force that in here, and then it will recognise it again. And I now know as well to look at the red lights. I wish I'd paid attention at the beginning. I just remember the red light seemed erratic. You want to see that red light perfectly every time it meets the metal dots, you know, I don't know if they're magnets or not, as it goes round. That way then you know it's reading properly. So yeah, I'm pretty confident now that's why this bike failed. Thanks for watching, everyone.